Hi, this is a short video to introduce you to one of Izannah Walker's antique dolls. This is an original Izannah, and she dates from the mid-19th century. As part of my celebration of Izannah's 197th birthday on September 25th, I am doing something kind of special. It's not anything that I expect that I'll be doing on a regular basis, but I am going to put Isane here up for sale. I love this doll. She has a wonderful and varied history. I know little bits of her story, not the entire thing, but from studying her and getting to live with her for a year, spending over 60 hours restoring her, I've come to understand a little bit about her past. After Izannah Walker made the doll, she obviously was a beloved plaything of some child, and I think must have been just loved to death because at some point after her original owner had her, she was sent to the Martha Chase factory for a little care and repair. Martha Chase and Izannah Walker are both from the same area of Rhode Island, and Martha Chase owned an Izannah Walker doll as a child, and then later, after she grew up and had children of her own, she became a doll maker and modeled a lot of her dolls and her doll making techniques on the Izannah Walker doll that she had had when she was a little girl. One of the things that the Martha Chase factory did is they did repair, and this doll went through that repair. She picked up new arms and legs at the Chase factory. She does have a lovely sateen second skin that was done at that time too, and they repainted her. After that, years and years passed, and I have absolutely no idea what happened to her in that time period, but a few years ago she became part of the collection of Kathy Patterson, who is just a terrific doll maker that lives in Canada. And Kathy had acquired this doll, who I believe had been sitting in a studio somewhere waiting for restoration for years and years at that time. And when Kathy got her, all of the overpaint that was done by Martha Chase was mostly removed, and she did have some of her original paint still showing. And she was a very sweet doll. I loved her to death. I just thought she was amazing and fantastic. And Kathy owned her for several years. And then after she passed through Kathy's hands, she went to a couple of different dealers and eventually became part of the collection of another wonderful doll collector, doll maker, artist, Edith O'Neill. And then last year I was given the opportunity to purchase her, and of course I couldn't resist because I had always loved this doll. Unfortunately, in between the time that she left Kathy and came to Edith, she did pass through a couple of different dealers, and one of them did repaint her, and I thought that was quite a shame. I had always liked the way she looked in her original condition with her old paint showing, and one of the reasons I did buy her was because I felt so bad that she'd had this very recent repaint, and I wanted to have the chance to make her look a little bit more like herself again. So a few weeks ago, well, I guess more like a few months ago, I started working on her and doing restoration work, and I put in over 60 hours. I very carefully removed all of the recent overpaint, got her back down to where just her paint was showing, and were just a few flecks of the Martha Chase pink that I could not take off without damaging her, so of course I left those as they were. When I bought the doll, this is what she looked like. Her color palette was all wrong. When she was repainted, she wound up with this very, very yellow skin tone and a kind of golden brown eyes and very hot pink lips, and it just wasn't quite right. It was a little off. So the whole color scheme was kind of skewed from what her original color should have been. Her eyes were painted too big. There were a few issues. I have a couple of other photos of her. This is from when she was listed on eBay a few years ago, and she did sell on eBay. Her selling price was $10,500, and I think she was worth it. She's a great doll. She came with some newly made clothes that have been made out of old fabrics, and they're interesting. They aren't quite right, and when I acquired her, she had no clothing at all. So I've never had this clothing. I do think the fabric in it is outstanding, but the style is not quite perfect. Anyway, when I restored her, I took off the overpaint, and then I did a thorough cleaning of the paint that was left, and I did a little bit of strategic in-painting. I really wanted to add as little paint as possible. I had to add some due to the fact that when she was repainted, some of her crackled paint had been scraped off and left just the bare cloth, which was very darkened and did not present a very good appearance. So I did have to in-paint those areas where the paint was scraped off. And at that time, also, the person that repainted her did add a little bit of filler in her forehead. And of course, all of that had to be covered. But I've done my best to match her existing paint color. I think I've come very, very, very close. As the new in-painting ages, it will continue to dry and become more matte, less shiny. There will always be a little bit of a sheen. You see that on all of Izanna's dolls, the ones that are in the original paint, because oils always do have that slight sheen, but with age, it will become less and less. You will always be able to tell that they are oils. Now, I decided that since the rest of her face was not perfect, that the eyes should not be totally perfect either. She had just the ghost of this eye left. I could see exactly where the outline should be, exactly what size it should be, but there was no color left, and you had to look very, very closely. So I did add new paint for the eyes, but again, I kept it very fitting with this doll. I didn't want it to be glaring and look extremely new and perfect when the rest of the doll wasn't. She did not have any color left on her lips. I added just a very faint, ghostly outline of the pink. I wanted her to look happy and still pleasant, but I didn't want to add a lot of color that had worn off over the years. So there is a slight pink to her lips. You can see where the lips would have been and exactly what shape they were. And I think she turned out really, really well. The other thing, when she was repainted, her eyes were painted very large, but her curls were painted too small. I did repaint the curls, and there was none of the original hair left down the side. There was a little bit of paint there to show that there had been hair down that way, but it actually had all completely worn away. And the same on the other side. There's enough of a little bit of flecks of paint down in the front of the ear to let you know something had been there, but the actual curls were no longer there. So I did add those. Now, in the back, when she was repainted this last time, they did add curls across the back of her neck. I actually could not find any evidence that they were there originally. You can see a little bit of the ghost of where those previous curls were that I had to remove. They're kind of a chestnutty brown. I couldn't take any more of this paint off without damaging the original paint underneath, so I stopped. But I did not repaint those curls because I don't think that they were there to start with. Now this is a great doll. I don't know if you guys know this, but Izannah used several different kinds of stuffings in her dolls. She used horsehair, she used seagrass, and she used cotton. This particular doll, while none of them are very heavy, they only weigh about 2 pounds, but this one is very firm. I'm kind of guessing she might be horsehair filled because she feels much denser than some of the cotton filled ones or the seagrass filled ones. And so she's quite heavy for an Izannah. Of course, having said that, I mean, really, she's only like 2.5 pounds, but she has a good weight to her. She's a nice feel in your hands. What I've given her is, I said that she had no clothing when I bought her. She now has an antique petticoat, antique pantalettes, and I made her a chemise. I've also made her a 4-piece wardrobe, and that comes with her. This way she has a dress for every occasion. I used some of my favorite fabrics, and I think they're all particularly suited to her. This is a very early 1830s fabric, and it actually came with a provenance. It was from a dress that was made in 1830 and then remade in the 1890s. And I thought that this was a really good choice for her. I'll slip one on her so you can see what she looks like dressed. Now, if you're looking at this video from my blog, you'll have lots of other still photos to refer to, and those are really great for detail. If you're seeing this just on YouTube because you subscribe to my YouTube videos, then you might want to go over to IzannahWalker.com and check out all the other information about this doll on the blog. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through facts and figures for you on the video. I'm just going to show you how pretty she is and let you get a good look at her. Now, I fitted this very closely, and apparently my fingers aren't working all that well today. I like them to fit very nice in the waist, and it looks like I may need to move this button over a little bit. I fitted it before I had the petticoat on her, and those petticoat buttons and this button are kind of interfering with each other, so I may have to move that button over just a smidge. It has a drawstring at the neck, and I think you'll get a chance to see how nice she looks in this. Izannah's dolls are generally the same size. This one, I'm sure, started out as an 18-inch doll. She's 19 inches now because these legs that were added to her at Martha Chase's factory are a little bit longer. So she is very narrow-waisted naturally. She's skinnier than some of Izannah's dolls. And so she's thin and tall. And her skirts are long enough that I think they look really perfect on her in this length. And I'll get you a chance to look. She comes with this dresser. The dresser is just the right size for her, and it enables you to keep her spare dresses tucked away when she's not wearing them. I thought that was a really nice way to store the extra clothing. In case anybody's wondering, oh my gosh, does she come without the dresses or the dresser? I'm going to tell you, I made the dresses specifically for her. They fit her exactly. So no, you cannot buy her without the clothing. I think that when she leaves here, she needs to have a nice array of clothing so that she has something to wear at all times. I think it's nice if she has multiple garments. That way you'll actually kind of play with her. I think she would be sad if she just sat on a shelf and nothing ever happened to her day in and day out. But this way, if she has a full wardrobe, you'll be tempted to take her down, change her clothes, and actually get a chance to handle her and know her, which is an important and wonderful part of owning an Izannah Walker doll. As far as the dresser goes, the dresser is my gift to the doll. If you don't want the dresser, you don't have to have it, but it's not going to change the price. I thought long and hard about what to charge for this doll. I went over all of the comparable prices that the dolls have been selling for at auction, and I decided that her selling price is going to be the same that she sold for on eBay. It's $10,500. During my annual Izannah Walker birthday sale on September 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th, she will be on sale for $10,197, and that includes the doll, all 4 dresses, and the dresser. You also have free shipping, and that's to any United States address. Any place out of the US, you're going to have to pay the exact shipping charges. Now, as for looking at the doll, please look her over carefully here in the video. Look at the still shots on the blog. If you happen to be close enough to Connecticut to be able to come by and take a look at her in person before purchasing her, you're welcome to make an appointment and do that. I am going to tell you this though. I'm not going to take returns on her because I really don't want to get into shipping her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So be sure if she tugs on your heart and you feel that she just has to be yours, look at her. You can ask me all the questions you want. You can ask for more photographs. I'd be happy to give you those. But really make sure that she's what you want, because all sales are final. The price is firm. I will do layaway. I usually can offer extremely generous layaway terms on my newly made reproduction dolls. For this particular doll, I am going to ask for 50% down, and then you can pay off the other 50% over 6 months. The only way I can talk myself into parting with her is the promise that I will use some of the money, well, actually probably most of the money, or more than that, more than this amount of money, to buy another Izannah Walker doll, perhaps one that's in need of a little help. I have a tendency to love the worn and the aged and things that I think need a little bit of care. So I would like to be able to take the money from this doll, invest it in another doll, and restore that doll. So I'm not going to go for an extremely drawn out layaway, but I would be able to work with you, like I said, over a 6-month period, because I know it is quite pricey, and I'd like to be able to do something for you that an auction house can't do. That would be my best deal on a layaway. Of course, if you'd like to just pay for her outright, then she can come home to you that much sooner. So thank you for dropping by and joining our party to celebrate Izannah's birthday. I hope you enjoyed meeting Isane, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.